Chapter 1. The assistant manager inherits grandpa's house. Assistant manager, do you have a moment? Yamada-kun, 1 second. Today, as usual, I'm bombarded with questions from my subordinates and pressing requests from the department head. I'm the assistant manager of this company. I managed to get this position at 35, but I'm not sure if that's considered fast or slow career progression. But to be honest, I have some regrets. Initially, I was thrilled about the promotion and the increase in salary that came with it, but once I got down to work, I found myself painfully caught between my subordinates and my boss. Frankly, the extra 10,000 yen hardly seems worth it when I have to mediate between my subordinates and supervisors, in addition to doing my own job. Sigh. I dream of enjoying my fishing hobby in the countryside and living a slow life. Today I stayed late at work again, enduring the department head's constant nagging by day and my subordinates' griping by night. I'm worn out. In my 20s, I worked relentlessly and didn't think much about it. I had plenty of energy and stamina, and I naively believed everything would fall into place. But hitting my 30s, reality has set in. I've begun to feel the aches, understanding what growing old means. Even as an assistant manager, my pay hasn't increased all that much. I'm short on cash, and lately the things that bring me joy seem to be dwindling. Today I worked, and tomorrow I'll work again. Weekends are consumed by doing chores at home and healing my weary body. I'd love to go fishing, but I'm left without the energy or motivation for it. Sometimes I wonder if this is all there is to my life. But lately, I can't seem to find the motivation to do anything. Maybe if I had a wife and kids, things would be different. But for a guy without even a girlfriend, that's a moot point. On my way home, dwelling on these downbeat thoughts, I remind myself that after work tomorrow, the weekend awaits, and head to the convenience store for dinner. At the bento section of the convenience store, despite considering my health, I end up choosing a fried chicken bento. Looking over at the checkout, I see a long line. Resigned, I join the queue and wait for my turn. Finally, it's the turn for the high school girl in front of me, wearing her school uniform. She starts searching through her bag in a panic. What the? Huh? She seems to be looking for something in her bag that is slung over her shoulder. I guess she's forgotten her wallet. Man, seriously? You'd think she'd have it prepared while waiting, though I've heard it's not safe for women or the elderly to do that. Still, I wish she'd hurry it up. The high school girl grows more frantic, stealing glances at the growing line behind her. Observing her, I notice that the only item on the counter is a bottle of water. It's just 100 yen, and it's only water. Are we seriously being kept waiting over a 100 yen bottle of water? Ch. A clicking tongue sound came from behind. Then, the high school girl jerked slightly and began to sneak peeks at us in line. Stop with the clicking, will you? Now she'll think it was me. Nah. Seems like the high school girl was about to give up on buying, so she reached for the bottle of water at the cashier. Seeing that, I sighed internally, took out 100 yen from my wallet, and placed it on the register. Here you go. Eh? But... The high school girl looked back and forth between me and the 100 yen on the counter. Don't worry about it. Well... She hesitated, casting her gaze down, but the clerk quickly finished the transaction, picking up on the cue. After that, the high school girl timidly took the water and exited the shop. Once she was gone, I paid for my own lunchbox and left as well. As I was about to head home, "Excuse me!" I heard a female voice, turned around, and there was the same high school girl. She had a neat appearance with long black hair tied back in a ponytail. "What's wrong?" "Ah, thank you so much, but I can't find my wallet." The high school girl twisted her hands nervously. She probably left it at home or somewhere. "Don't worry about it. It wasn't that expensive. It was just 100 yen. But... No worries, really. I'm feeling generous today, so consider it a gift." That's not entirely true. To be honest, I haven't been in a good mood much lately. "Ah, thank you. I really want to repay you. So could I at least get your contact information?" Why do I need to go through all this for just 100 yen? And what if her parents get involved and start giving me weird looks? It's really fine. Well, what are you doing? Huh? Doing? I'm just a regular salaryman. Oh, is that so? Thank you so much. I'll find a way to repay you for this kindness someday. After saying that, the high school girl bowed and dashed off. Watching her retreat, I thought her reaction was a bit much over 100 yen, but then again, I likely won't ever see her again, so I headed home. And when I got home, I find myself smoking under the vent hood. Maybe I should quit smoking. I'm already 35 years old. It's time to start worrying about my health, and I don't want to be considered smelly by the younger folks at work. As I mull over this and let out a puff of smoke, my smartphone rings. Who could it be at this hour? I wonder, and when I check, it's a call from my dad. It's not often he calls, I think to myself and pick up. "Dad? What's happened?" "Yeah, Tatsuya. Granddad's gone." "What? Huh? Was he sick?" "I only just found out, but apparently he's been ill for a while. They called an ambulance today, but he was gone just like that." "Seriously?" "Grandpa..." My granddad was an eccentric old man, somewhat estranged from the family. Ever since my grandma passed away when I was a student, Granddad had been living alone in his house. Sorry to say, but the wake is tomorrow, and the funeral the day after. Understood? I'll take off work tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, so one day off should be fine. It isn't our busy season, so taking that much time off should be doable. Oh, and one more thing. There's actually a will, and it turns out that you are inheriting Grandpa's house. The house? That's the place Dad and Aunt moved out of because it was too big for just 2 people, and then moved into a really cramped one? It's a single story with 3 bedrooms, a living room, and a dining kitchen area. It's in Tokyo, so it could fetch a good price if sold. Why me? Well, Grandpa was quite fond of you. It's sad to discuss inheritances, but he left a sizable amount of money to my sister and me. We've talked it over, and according to the will, we're giving the house to you. Plus, it's not too far from where you work now. It's actually quite convenient, isn't it? It's true, my current job isn't far from that house. In fact, it's closer than the shabby apartment I'm living in now. Is that really okay? Yeah, you're getting to the age where you should be settling down. But I don't have anyone to settle down with. Right, that's true. Sigh. Anyway, the wake is tomorrow, followed by the funeral the day after. I'm counting on you. Dad seems to have resigned himself to something, sighed, and then ended the call. I sat there, pondering if Grandpa really had passed away, and ate my convenience store dinner while reminiscing about the times we shared. The wake was held the following day, and the funeral the day after. Grandpa had a good long life, reaching 90, so the funeral wasn't overly sorrowful. And now, as per the will, I've inherited Grandpa's house and will be sorting through his belongings there.
There's quite a bit here, but the electronics, furniture, everything's better than what I've got.
Having arrived at Grandpa's house, I'm looking around the rooms, and it's clear he lived well. Perhaps it would be better to get rid of my stuff in the apartment instead. But how did he have so much money? He built a house here and lived well. It seems he also left money for my dad and aunt, so he must have made quite a bit. But I've never heard of Grandpa working anywhere, and he was always home with Grandma whenever I came over during summer breaks as a kid. Did they win the lottery? Or was he doing some kind of work from home? The truth remains unknown. As I continued, I assessed the rooms and furniture, comparing them to what I have at my place, deciding what to keep and what not to. Then, at noon, I took a break with a convenience store onigiri. Well, that's that. I've given up on dropping out and living the slow life in the countryside, but to wish for more when I'm staying in such a nice house would be greedy. I've checked most of the rooms and the moving plans are set. I'm leaning towards using mostly what's here and getting rid of almost everything from my current apartment. Ah. While eating the last onigiri, I realized there was a room I hadn't checked. I wonder what that room will be like. This house has a room that remains unopened. More accurately, it's Grandpa's study. As Dad mentioned, Grandpa was fond of me, a kind man who'd slip me some pocket money on the sly. He was thrilled when I got a job, even got me an expensive suit for the occasion. I've always felt cherished. Grandpa hardly ever got angry with me. But there was one time he truly got angry, and that was when I attempted to enter that room. I remember that moment vividly. He surely won't get angry now, right? After all, he did say he would give me this house. Once I finished my onigiri, with thoughts of hoping nothing eerie would emerge, I stood up and exited the living room. I strode down the corridor and stopped before the door at the end. It's locked, isn't it? I recall a conversation with my father over drinks. He said he'd never been inside and that it was always locked. My grandmother, when she was alive, would only laugh and remain silent when questioned about it. As these memories surfaced, I grasped the doorknob and gave it a slight tug. To my surprise, the door cracked open a bit. Huh? Oh, right, of course. Remembering that my grandfather was no longer with us, I pulled on the doorknob. The door made a groaning sound as it swung open. What? The space beyond was indeed a room, yet it seemed entirely different in structure. Rather, it was bizarre. Because, by the house's layout, this room should be impossibly spacious. Given that there's another house just behind ours, this room should only be about the size of 6 tatami mats. Yet, here it was, at least 20 tatami mats in size. Something was clearly amiss. No, that's not important right now. What's more important is this. Before me stood a small girl with long black hair, dressed in a stark white hooded robe, cradling a black cat. I have been awaiting your arrival, Master Tatsuya. The girl bowed her head, then quickly looked back up. Eh? Who are you? Seriously, who are you? Grandpa, kidnapping is not cool. Oh, wait. Could she be a secret child? The girl, still holding the black cat, tilted her head, gazing up at me. She looks to be no more than 10 years old. This is terrible. It's really terrible. I'm 35 years old. If I mess this up, I'll be socially finished. I wanted to leave my job, but not to fall out of society. My name is Ruri. I am a homunculus created to serve you, Master Tatsuya. I am pleased to meet you. Oh no, don't leave me behind. I've lost track completely in a flash. Is this the generation gap they talk about? A homunculus? I feel like I heard that somewhere already. What was it again? Yes. A homunculus is an artificially created human. I was made by Master Tadashi and told to assist Master Tatsuya. Please command me as you wish. I will obey any order. What is this child talking about?